As I mentioned earlier, of course, all eyes on this Russia-Ukraine drama. The larger, though, and more ominous shadow over this market is what happens next with respect to the Federal Reserve. You know, what's really interesting is while Powell has been shamed into not using the word transitory, even though maybe he still believes it in his heart, there are others still using it. In fact, according to the Bank of America, 52% of professional money managers think inflation is transitory. Only 39% think it's permanent. Joining me now, Bianco Research President Jim Bianco. Jim, I got to tell you, I thought everyone agreed that it was transitory. So how do you explain that so many pros are still in that camp?
They've always been in that camp, and I think it really comes down to priority. Most of the fund managers surveyed believe that the Fed's first, second, and third priority is growth. They want to make sure the economy grows. They want to make sure that employment stays down. And you can even call it the Fed put, too. They don't want to see the stock market create a negative wealth effect. But if the Fed's priority is shifting towards inflation and that they have to deal with inflation, and inflation is a problem. 40% of the public does not have savings, and they don't own a home. So they just get hit and hit hard with inflation. And if the Fed wants to side with those 40% and start to tighten, raise rates to slow the economy, to bring prices down, then that growth narrative's out the window. So I think what you're seeing with that survey is a lot of fund managers still think growth is the priority. So that's why they keep saying that inflation is transitory. Inflation won't change the Fed's priority, but I'm not so sure.
You know, in the meantime, everyone has been busy sharpening their pencils, refreshing their models. It's been a while since you and I spoke. Have you made any changes, to your outlook for the S&P for the year, to the economy? Anything changed since then?
Yeah, I mean, I am of the opinion that the Fed is going to deal with this inflation problem. So they are going to raise rates a lot more than probably most of your guests suggest, probably closer to the 6 or 7 times that the market has priced in. That's going to be a problem for the market. That doesn't mean some horrible bear market or anything, but it's going to be probably what we've seen over the last 2 months continue moving forward. I think inflation beneficiary stocks, energy, basic materials, industrials, and the like will do better in that kind of environment. What we refer to as long duration stocks, the growthier stocks like technology, is going to continue to struggle because I do think that their priority has changed, and I don't think people have really come to grips that for the first time in 40 years, the Fed is not your friend anymore. They are out to get inflation down.
So speaking of inflation, it's got a lot of folks are blaming capitalism. And it's interesting because there's a new documentary about Carl Icahn where he says capitalism is broken because decision makers aren't beholden to true democracy. What do you make of that?
He's right that a lot of directors of corporations forget why they're there and who they're supposed to be representing. They think that they're representing management, but they're supposed to be representing shareholders. And a guy like Carl Icahn is exploited that inefficiency by coming in as an activist investor. Now that I've said that, that doesn't mean that the entire capitalist system has to be torn down to its studs. There is ways that we could go about fixing it, and that is probably through proxies and through making people understand that they own part of a company and they don't own some casino chip that they think is going to go up or down. And that's been part of the problem, is that no one thinks they own companies. They own casino chips.
Jim, I wish we had more time. This is a fantastic conversation. Let's pick it up again real soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So President